Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cool Stuff with Kyle. So today I'm just going to make a quick recipe. It's for a real tasty candy, and it's called, I know it as Seafoam. And inside there's a crunchy, kind of a toffee sort of thing that I know as sponge candy, and then you coat it in chocolate, and you let that set, and then you just bite into it and eat it. It's a nice crunchy chocolate coated thing. But yeah, some chocolatiers sell it as Seafoam. I've heard of it referred to as Wisconsin fairy food. It has a bunch of different names that it goes by, but it's good stuff and it's pretty easy to make. So you start with 1 cup of granulated sugar, just regular old white granulated sugar, and also 1 cup of dark corn syrup, which this is what I used, the Caro dark corn syrup. You just need 1 cup of that. And then 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. You just take your cup of sugar, your cup of corn syrup, dark corn syrup, and your tablespoon of white vinegar. You put it into your pan before you even heated anything up. You mix it all together. Then you let that sit there. You heat on medium to high heat, and you get something like this. And you want to heat this until it gets to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? So you don't stir it. During this stage. You stir it at the beginning. You just stir the ingredients together, but then you let this heat up on medium to high until you reach 300 degrees Fahrenheit. We're not quite there yet, but it won't take long. Now this is a good time to tell you, you're also going to need a sheet pan with parchment paper. Just line it with parchment paper. The candy shouldn't really stick to that too much. It's pretty easy to remove from the parchment paper after it sets up. Now at this point, guys, you should also prepare 1 tablespoon of baking soda, okay? So just 1 tablespoon of baking soda, and it's going to be a really quick process. As soon as this reaches 300 degrees, we're going to pour the baking soda in, and we're going to stir it up really, really fast. It's going to start to expand and set up very quickly. So once I do that, I'm going to pour it all into the pan that I have the parchment paper on and let it just kind of get flat on the parchment paper, and we're going to let it cool on that pan. So I'll show you that here in just a second. Okay, we have reached that 300 degrees Fahrenheit, so I'm going to take this off the heat, turn off the heat here. Okay, we're going to mix in very quickly our baking soda. Okay, it's going to expand very fast after I do this. So mix it in thoroughly. It's expanding. Okay, there it goes. I'm going to pour it on the pan right now. So I poured it out on this pan. It doesn't come out perfectly flat. It doesn't, it's not real runny. Like I said, it sets up very quickly. So it just comes out in kind of clumps. And, you just have to let it sit there like that. It's not going to smooth out perfectly even. Also, some of it's going to stay stuck behind in the pan. It doesn't ever always want to come out. Most of it comes out, but some of it gets stuck in the pan. That's okay. That's just how this stuff works. You don't want to take your stirrer and stir it up after it starts expanding. That will actually make, if I hit this with something now, it will make it collapse. Because the reason why I refer to it as sponge candy, it's got a lot of little holes inside of it. It's kind of like aerated. It's part of what makes the candy so light and crunchy when you bite into it. So you don't want to deflate it. You want to let it pour out naturally. Don't stir it up any further. Just let it sit here and cool until it hardens. So for me, it's been about 20 minutes of cooling here, and you can see I can break this off now. It's pretty hardened at this point. This part over here is pretty thin because this is a part that I actually did scrape out of the pan with the scraper, so it's not extremely aerated because, like I said, you're not supposed to hit it with a stirrer after you put the baking soda in. You're just supposed to let it pour out naturally, but this was just a little bit extra I wanted to try to get out of the pan. It's still edible. It's just not going to be as aerated as some of the thinner part like on the edge here, but here you can see all the little holes in there. Makes it nice and fluffy, like crunchy, very hard. It's very hard, crunchy, but like this is like a real light texture, when you bite into it. It's really cool. And so you just either break or cut this, and if you do try to cut it, you're going to need something pretty sharp because it is going to try to crumble as you cut into it. But you break it into pieces like that, or with a knife, however you want to do it, whatever size pieces you want. And then you're going to take your chocolate. The recipe that I was using to base this video on, I will show you that. It's from this 12tomatoes.com, but it does say to use 10, excuse me, I think it's 10 to 15 ounces or 12 to 15 ounces, I don't remember, of chocolate candy coating. And you're just going to follow the instructions for your chocolate coating. But let's take a look at what I've got. So I've got some Hershey's milk chocolate chips here. And let's see what the instructions are. This is actually directions for making chocolate chip cookies on here, which is not what I want to do in this case. So, you know, these don't actually have melting instructions, but I'll tell you how I'm going to do it, because I do this for candy and things all the time. I'm just going to take some of these chocolate chips and put them in a bowl. Actually, I'll show you. I'll do that right now. So I got my chocolate chips in this bowl here, and I'm going to put them in the microwave for 30 seconds at a time. So 30 seconds, then I will stir it up. And then it probably won't be, you know, all melted after just 30 seconds. So I'll do another 30 seconds. I'll stir it up again really good. Do that as many times as I need to until everything is thoroughly melted. But it shouldn't need to be longer than maybe a minute and a half at the most, I would guess. Depends on how much chocolate you have, and it depends on your microwave. But you don't want to cook it too much. You can actually kind of scorch the chocolate, and then it's not going to taste very good. I have broken up all of my candy into different size pieces. You can have small pieces, large pieces, it doesn't matter, whatever you like. If you find that you have a lot of little pieces that broke off that you're like, well, I don't want to chocolate coat this and make this into a thing, well, just eat it. Sponge candy by itself is perfectly delicious. And I would say that the flavor, it's very much like peanut brittle without peanuts in it. It's like what makes up the main part of the peanut brittle. It's really good. I'm putting this in the microwave starting for that 30 seconds. It's not going to be super melted after 30 seconds, but you can see when I move these out of the way, there is some melted stuff toward the bottom. So it's important that I stir this up and then do it for another 30, because if you don't do that, you're going to have inconsistent heat from the bottom to the top, and some of your chocolate chips are going to get burned. So I'm going to stir it all up, and then I'm going to put it in again for another 30 seconds. You can see that after the second 30 seconds, we are looking a lot more melted here. I'm actually just going to do 20 seconds on this one because it seems to be so close to done here. Now, these are all fully melted, so we can now coat our candy. You can use gloves or something if you want to, but I'm just going to dive right into it. Just grab yourself a piece of candy there, get it dipped in there. This chocolate isn't terribly hot, you know, so it's safe. But you're going to have to, you know, check that, verify that the temperature is safe with your own if you're making it. But mine is at a good temperature that I can just dip it in there, and we're just going to put that on. This is more parchment paper. We're going to put that over there to cool. So that's all you have to do. Just take your pieces, coat them in chocolate, and put them out to cool. I would suggest putting them in the refrigerator once you have them on the parchment paper, once you're all done, because it will help it set better in the refrigerator, and it'll set faster, and you can eat it faster. Also, you can do this with white chocolate, you know, vanilla candy coating, whatever. I like to mix it up a little bit. Got a whole plate of them chocolate coated, and I'm just going to put those in the refrigerator for a little while to harden up. I also did do some of these in white chocolate, and also some milk chocolate on there. Sometimes with milk chocolate, if it gets a little bit, maybe a little bit too hot or something, it gets these kind of speckled patterns on it, but that's okay. If you don't go through a chocolate tempering process, which professional chocolatiers temper chocolate, but if you don't do that, sometimes that happens. Still tastes fine, perfectly edible, not dangerous or anything. So this is a white chocolate one. It's really delicious. And that's nice and airy inside. You can see all the little airy pockets in there. Really good stuff. Turned out great. So I hope you enjoyed seeing this sponge candy recipe, and if you're interested in trying it yourself, I fully recommend it. The recipe I used It was called Wisconsin Fairy Food on that recipe, and I will be linking that in the description so you can follow the recipe just like I did. Remember, until next time, the world is full of cool stuff. Go out and find some. Thank you.